we came to America, we were living in the east by the Nile River, living in luxury, enjoying freedom, justice, and equality. We wore silken robes and slippers of gold. We were the wealthiest and the wisest people, I'm told. Now we are the poorest of the poor. Nobody wants us at their door. So my friend, it's easy to tell, white man heaven is a black man hell.
So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that Master Farad Muhammad said 6 words to us, and these were the 6 most powerful words that he spoke. He said, accept your own and be yourself. Accept your own. The Caucasians who brought our fathers into slavery desired to take us away from our own people, our own culture, our own religion, our own God, our own language. So we have grown up in America away from our own mind, away from our own selves, and so we have been actually indoctrinated with an alien mentality.
10,000 fearless men. Because we're going to have to challenge the things that are destroying our community. So this ain't no punk time. This ain't no temple time, mosque time, or church time. All the singing and shouting and preaching is over. Get in them streets now. Block by block. We're going to have to clean it up. The airwaves is not enough. The television screen is not enough. You got to put boots on the ground who are trained and are willing to make the sacrifice of life itself to see our community made a decent place to live.
Attention. Drill.
Soldiering is a part of the Nation of Islam, and it readies all of us to obey the commands of God. Now some will ask, well, why military drill? Because this is what produces the camaraderie.
Facebook and Instagram thought that they could ban the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
But in reality, they can't, because he already lives in us and millions of others.
قل أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
In the name of Allah, Master Fard Muhammad, the one true and living God to whom praises due forever, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is his messenger. Peace, family, and welcome back to another wonderful episode of WHID-FM. WHID-FM is your personal platform where those of us striving to follow the life-giving, life-saving teachings of the most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as given to us by his premier pupil, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, gather right here in this virtual meeting place to answer that most critical question: what has Islam done for me? Tonight, it is Sunday, December 14th, and at this time, we're going to turn it over to our special co-host, Sister Janine Muhammad, who is a superstar student here in the Ministry of Muhammad Mosque number 6, under the leadership of our beloved brother, student Imam Abdul Salam Muhammad. Sister Janine.
Assalamu alaikum, family, and thank you again for joining us for another wonderful episode of WHID-FM, What Has Islam Done for Me? We thank you for tuning in each and every week to hear the stories from our various guests about what Islam has done and continuing to do for them. I'm going to introduce our guest tonight, who is Sister Angeline X, who is a family nurse practitioner and an author with over 18 years of healthcare experience. Her journey into nursing began after a profound personal experience involving her firstborn child, which ignited her passion for the field. She holds a Bachelor of Science in Nursing from Gwynedd Mercy University and a master's degree in nursing from the University of Pennsylvania. Sister Angeline is dedicated to improving community health with a holistic approach, focusing on using food as a medicine, lifestyle management, and the benefits of fasting and managing chronic diseases. Drawing on her culinary arts background, she educates and empowers her patients and community to make informed health choices, combining the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and How to Eat to Live. As the author of Optimized Health, Sister Angeline aims to inspire others through lifestyle changes. Outside of her professional life, she enjoys gardening and preparing nutritious meals for her family. Sister Angeline offers valuable insight, innovative strategies for health, and a dedicated mission to empower individuals to embrace healthier lifestyles through a holistic perspective. So we'd like to introduce her to you all today. Assalamu alaikum, sis.
Wa alaikum salam, ma'am.
Thank you for joining us today. We really, really appreciate it. Before we really get into the meat of our conversation, when we interview our guests, we like to get a backstory of really their introduction to Islam. So can you tell us, what was your introduction of Islam and
Yes.
what made you be committed to this very nation?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for having me.
Ma'am.
So my introduction to Islam came about approximately 20 years ago. So my partner back then introduced it to me. After the first year of dating, he found Islam. Someone introduced Islam to him. Initially, when he received the teachings, I initially thought, I'm going to break up with this guy because he was so ignited by the teachings. And I really didn't thought we could make it at the time because his perspective had changed. So in my mind, I was ready to break up with this guy because back then I was a Christian. But I kept the relationship and he became my husband. But that's how he got introduced to me, Islam. And initially I didn't embrace it. It took me almost 20 years to really embrace the teachings. So for anyone that is being introduced to Islam, it can take a while. Although you're introducing them to the teachings initially, they may not embrace it. It may take a while. It's a journey. So that's how I first got started with Islam. And over the years, I just kept listening to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's teachings, his message, his lectures. Every time I was in just a state of depression or a state of just being down and not feeling my best, I would just nurse myself on his teachings, on the lectures. And I think it has helped me throughout all these years.
Yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah. You actually lead me into my next question because you have people that may come out and love the teachings, but there are some that may not commit 100% in joining the nation. So what was that change for you that made you say, I not only want to come out and feed from these teachings, but I want to be a registered member of this nation?
Yes, ma'am. Life happened. Allah uses all these trials to test us. And at my lowest moment, where there was no one else I could turn to, there were no friends, no spouse, no one, no parents, no one, where it literally puts you through trials to the point where the only person that you can really call on is Allah, God himself.
That's right. Yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah. Now, going into your career field, so you say you been feeding on the nation for about 20 years. So the career choice you have in being in a healthcare practice, did Islam inspire any of that, or is that something you kind of always wanted to do, and that kind of led to what happened with your firstborn daughter?
Life just happened. I didn't really have any. At first, I was going to school to become a pharmacist, and I was always struggling between being a pharmacist and a nurse. And what happened to my daughter, what transpired with my daughter, actually changed my mind, because she was in the NICU for about 2 months, and just being in that environment for that time frame and seeing the care that the nurses provide, it just exposed me to that environment, where I made the decision to pursue a nursing degree instead of the pharmacy degree. In addition to that, I was a pharmacy technician at one point.
Mhm.
So I worked in the pharmacy field for a few years, but I didn't necessarily enjoy that. At an early age, I realized that in modern medicine, it was just based on medications, pills, and that didn't resonate with me.
Yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah. So when we're getting into you being in the medical field, because some people may say, they're fine to be in a medical field, they trust everything about medicine. So getting your healthcare education, how do you balance between, okay, I agree with this with the Western medicine, this part, I think I want to take another route. So how do you decipher what you get and be able to say, okay, this is good, but this part, I think I want to go at it a different way?
Well, initially, it was a struggle to really balance it all. After I became a nurse practitioner, I realized that everything that I had learned wasn't necessarily accurate. And I was struggling to decide whether or not I should continue the traditional route or do something else. So after I became a nurse practitioner, about a year or so, I practically left the field because I realized that my ultimate goal was to help people to get better. But I wasn't experiencing that while I was in the field. I learned very quickly that I was just using medications as a tool to cover up symptoms. So initially, it was a balance where I decided I was going to leave the profession. And then just life happened, as I mentioned, and just feeding on the word and the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and through Minister Farrakhan. And then I started deciding that my perspective started to change, where I realized that I can do something different. I can actually do something different. And the more I learned, I realized that there was a holistic route I could take.
Okay. Now, before I go to for the West, I want to dig into this a little bit. So how does one transfer from Western medicine to going the holistic route? Is it like just a mental decision, or is there research, is there certifications you have to do when it comes to the holistic method?
Well, knowledge. You need knowledge. So that's imperative. So I had done a few courses in the holistic realm, and then just reading. And then with Allah's wisdom. He guides everyone. Allah guides everyone. So he actually, reading the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, How to Eat to Live, I started doing a lot of research on that. And based on the foods that he implemented, he recommended, I started researching and seeing what the benefits were. And then I also experimented with myself. So it's very hard to transition, especially if you've only known the Western medicine. But I knew that wasn't the solution. It wasn't 100% solution. Yes, the medications can help, and they can help temporarily as a Band-Aid, but long-term chronic disease management, it wasn't the entire solution. So you definitely need knowledge, wisdom, and understanding in order for you to fully convert to a different route.
Yes, ma'am. And my next question before I turn it over to Brother West, in How to Eat to Live, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad goes into fasting and how it helps the body. So in your holistic journey and your healthcare background, can you tell us, how have you learned the benefits of fasting on a molecular and cellular level?
Yes, ma'am. So the reason I started fasting, because I had a medical condition and I was looking for a solution for my problem. And I stumbled upon How to Eat to Live. I read it, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he recommended 1 meal a day. At first, I thought that was just crazy to start doing 1 meal a day. But based on my health condition, and I wanted to do something different, because I know I didn't want it to go to the Western, the traditional route. So I attempted to do fasting. And I've been doing it daily ever since, for about 4 years now.
Praise be to Allah. And was there what was the benefits that you noticed?
The benefits are excellent, right? The benefits, weight loss management, especially if you have a lot of visceral fat. Most people have visceral fat, and that's just the fat inside that's surrounding the organs. So that is absorbed, and detoxification. The body purifies itself, honestly. What else? Blood pressure management, diabetes. So when you're abstaining from food, your insulin level is not necessarily spiking at all the time. So it really helps to control your blood sugars. Mental clarity. Oh my gosh. Mental clarity is one of the biggest things for me. You have the ability to think. Also energy, stamina, writing, critical thinking. The benefits are just tremendous.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, ma'am. I know I said I'm going to Brother West, but we have a question in the chat that I don't want us to miss. So the question that is asked, it says, how are holistic medical treatments relatable to How to Eat to Live?
Oh, well, food is actually medicine, right? There are two ways to really support the human anatomy. And that's with fasting, and also too using food as medicine. So the major component of holistic medicine that I use is food as medicine along with fasting. So fasting is really cleansing the body, right? And then you need the food to replenish the body. So the foods that are outlined in How to Eat to Live, they are what the body really needs. So for instance, navy beans, it is high in protein. We need that for muscle repair, right? Also too, it has high fiber in it. It really is beneficial for the gut health and the gut microbiome, and that environment in the gut also helps with stool formation. Another thing too, whole wheat bread, it also has protein in it. It also has fiber in it. Milk Milk is very beneficial because it has protein and it also has numerous nutrients and vitamins in it. And all these foods combined that are suggested in How to Eat to Live, it really keeps the body metabolically healthy from a cellular level.
Yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Brother West, who has some question for you that he would like to ask. So, Brother West, I'll turn it over to you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Angeline.
Wa alaikum salam, sir.
Praise be to Allah. So my first question, since Sister Janine actually asked a few that I was gonna ask, I was recently watching some videos online when I came across an interview that Oprah did with a medical doctor, I believe, and he was describing how certain foods that you eat can either affect you more or less depending on your thoughts. And I know that in How to Eat to Live, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that it's not just enough to eat good food, but to also have good thoughts. I'm paraphrasing. But I was curious, is that scientifically proven? Do you know anything about that? Could you just talk a little bit about that for our audience?
Okay. Well, when it comes on to our thoughts, yes, I do agree with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. It's not just the foods that you eat. You also have to have the good thoughts, right? For instance, if someone is thinking negatively all the time, they're not very positive, they're stressed out, it actually increases certain hormones, especially the cortisol. And cortisol is that stress hormones. So yes, you could be eating the best foods. You could be having navy beans, whole wheat bread, milk, all the fruits and vegetables in the world. But if you're not having the right thoughts, your body is not medically stable. And then that cortisol level, it causes inflammation, and then it causes other chronic diseases. So yes, you may think that you're eating the right foods, you're eating everything that is prescribed in How to Eat to Live, but you're still sick because your thoughts are not in alignment with your body, with your nature.
I see. That's very interesting. Very interesting. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Also, I know how your bio mentioned how, in addition to your medical expertise, 18 years of experience, which is a lot for sure, but that you also combine the teachings of How to Eat to Live for your patients. So I was curious if you can just go into depth of how exactly you do that. Do you say that, oh, this is from How to Eat to Live, or do you just put it in a way that it's easier to understand? I was just curious about that.
Yeah. For my clients, I don't necessarily let them know that it's from How to Eat to Live, although I do make the suggestions of getting that book, How to Eat to Live. But the foods that are recommended, there are medical evidence out there that's telling us that those are the right foods to eat. So there's a lot of truth mixed up with falsehood in the medical field. For instance, they recommend kale. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad does not recommend kale, right? Because there's different enzymes in it and different compounds that are hard for the body to digest. So what I've been doing is utilizing the foods from How to Eat to Live, and it's a way of life for me. It's something that I practice. So it has become very easy for me to implement. And then I've been formulating different guidelines where now, based on the medical knowledge out there and what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has been teaching all these years, I've been combining everything and put it into a guideline and being able to explain it to my patients where it's just easy for them to understand. And also, too, in the Mediterranean diet, that's a huge diet that is pretty much common now. A lot of the foods are also included in the Mediterranean diet.
You were saying the Mediterranean diet?
Yes.
Okay, just clarifying. My next question, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but I did want to know, since working in the medical field, what are some common misconceptions or unknown facts that you learned that I would say the average person doesn't know, but maybe like blew your mind when you learned about it?
Well, for me, fasting. I had no idea about fasting until I read How to Eat to Live. And then I started doing my own research based on the information in the book. So fasting, the majority of the times when I mention it to others, they're very surprised by it because they've always been told that they should be eating maybe 3 meals per day and snacks in between, or even more. So it's always surprising when I tell them about fasting and its benefits. It's normally shocking to them. But when I break it down to a level where it's easy for them to understand, they're normally willing to give it a try at least.
That's amazing. Fasting definitely has a lot of unknown effects that are, I would say, being spread out in the mainstream now. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he was definitely on to something
He was
back when he
definitely
first wrote the
onto
book.
it. Since
Absolutely.
the
That's it.
1930s. And
Right.
now
That's
modern medicine is just catching up in 2025. It's incredible.
It is. It's almost like it's become a trend, really, since
It
you
has.
see it here and there, but it all boils down to the source, where it came from.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I want to let the world know, the source. It's not just from modern medicine or a recent trend. It's been a teaching since the 1930s by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. He needs to
Exactly that. Exactly that. Inshallah, we'll see the world open up to it. So
Yes.
that's amazing for sure. Now, switching gears a little bit, I know we've been asking about your career as far as the medical field and things like that, but I did want to go into more of your history with the Nation of Islam. So, my first question concerning that would be, what is your most memorable experience as an MGT? Would it be like a Savior's Day that you had, a time at the mosque? Like, what comes to mind?
Yes, sir. Well, what comes to mind is when I first got my ex. So we had a cookout, a Delaware Valley cookout, and I went there and I actually answered my questions there, and I got my ex, and it was just so amazing how I was welcomed because it was announced at the cookout with so many people there. And they announced that I recently got my ex. And that was just so a memorable time because all the applause and the cheers. And it was just a welcoming feeling like I was finally with my family. It felt like home. It felt like I was a lost soul and my family welcomed me home. And it was just such a great experience. I'll never forget it.
That's amazing. That's beautiful for sure. I've heard a lot of people talk about when they first recited or graduating at Savior's Day. I'm looking forward to it. I know Jamal is looking forward to it. We should be getting registered next year, inshallah. So, absolutely. My next question for you: when I was doing the research for the show, I saw your bio online as well, and it included how you migrated from Jamaica, I believe.
Yes, sir.
That's amazing. So I
Thank you.
wanted to just go into how different is, I would say, your experience in Jamaica as far as maybe the brotherhood or the level of, I don't know, maybe like the level of struggle that they may have in Jamaica compared to how it is in the United States. I was about to say Baltimore, how it is down here. I mean, would you say that the Nation of Islam kind of showed you a little bit more about your brothers and sisters in both places?
Okay. Yes, sir. So, yes, I grew up in Jamaica and I migrated here when I was 18. And the experience growing up in Jamaica was it was profound to my entire career. It made a huge impact on my life because I was surrounded by what I am doing now. I focus on food as medicine and just health. I was surrounded by that in Jamaica. Like our snacks were not like Oreos or chips. It was mangoes and apples and guavas and soursop. We just go outside and pick the fruits. Also, to the upbringing that I've had in Jamaica, we are focused on self-development at a very early age. We are programmed since maybe birth that we can do something. We are more than enough. We have greatness within us, and whatever we put our minds to, we can actually achieve it. Also, too, the majority of the population is Black, although there are Caucasians there, but the majority, I'm surrounded by my Black family, my teachers. So there's a lot of encouragement, and you're able to, practice self-development at a very early age. Versus in America, I guess when I first came here, I didn't have a sense of community, and I had that in Jamaica. So the community was lacking. If I saw like a stranger on the road, if I said hi or goodbye, there's no response. In Jamaica, you know your neighbors. So there was a lot of differences. In Jamaica, it's more about a community. In America, it was more separation, and you're by yourself and you just have to figure things out. When I came here, and just based on the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, I've realized that I have a better understanding of why that's the case, especially with the racism and, just separation and segregation here.
Absolutely. That's very interesting. I've never been to Jamaica, but I've always heard about it, wanted to know what it's like. So thank you for answering that for sure. My next question before we go to Brother Jamal, he has a couple of questions for you as well. I wanted to know, while you've been in the nation, what would you say is the best advice you've been given by a fellow believer? And why was it so profound when you heard it?
Yes, sir. Well, in our mosque, there are wonderful believers, and I love them all. I love them all. Sister Tara, Student Minister Keith, they're all just very encouraging. But what I've been getting from the nation is about self-development. It's always about self-development. And Student Minister Keith Muhammad, he is always mentioning, look in the mirror and not through the window. Right? So work on yourself. Self-development is the major component of life, right? So I've been striving to work on me, work on developing myself, because if I am not fully developed, I cannot help my family, and I cannot help my community and my also fellow believers. So self-development is something that I've been striving to work on.
All praises due to Allah. And with that, we're going to turn it over to Brother Jamal for some of his questions. Brother Jamal.
Yes, sir, Brother West. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Angeline.
Walaikum salam, sir.
Yes, ma'am. I liked the answers you have gave us, and I learned a lot from you right now.
All praises due to Allah.
Yes, ma'am. And the first question I would like to ask, as a woman in the Nation of Islam and in healthcare and leadership, how do you balance your service and family and faith?
Yes, sir. It's all about balance, and it's all by the grace of Allah. Also, too, when it comes on to, so you just have to find the balance, right? So my balance starts with Allah. He's my center. Allah is center of it all. And I've been striving to ground myself and develop myself. So it starts with the reading the whole prayers in the morning, reading the Holy Quran, then my family, right? Also, too, being in the healthcare field, I know that health is the best wealth. So my foundation also is my nutrition, because I have to make sure I'm eating well, and I'm also nourishing my children as well, and nourishing the community. So Allah has to be the center of your life. He is at the center of mine. Prayers all the time, our 5 obligatory prayers, and the refuge prayer. That has centered me, especially when I'm in the medical field and just dealing with the stressors of life. You have to find something or put your faith in something that is bigger than yourself. And the refuge prayer is very beneficial for me, and it keeps me grounded. And then just meal planning. I prep and I meal plan, making sure that after a busy day at work and after talking for hours to these clients or my patients, when I come home, I have something readily available to nourish my body, to nourish my soul. So once again, I am going to reiterate that I've been praying a lot, reading the Holy Quran, listening to the teachings of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and nutrition and just self-care.
Yes, ma'am. It sounds like you're getting yourself ready for the day, and actually, you're talking about soaking everything in. That's good for yourself, nourishing yourself, even with prayer, reading the Holy Quran, and with food. And
Yes.
actually, what you said, lastly, with your clients, my other question was, how so speaking to a client, have you ever had an experience where you might have tried to explain the ways of how to live, and your client may have been like, I don't know if that's right for me, or is this like I don't think that would be a good idea. Like, have you ever had to break down? Can you give an example if you having to break down the ways of how to live, or how to properly nutrition your body?
So sure. I typically start off, like, for instance, someone that has diabetes. That's very simple. We already know that that's an elevation of blood glucose, lots of blood sugar in the body, right? So the way I explain it to them, when you consume a lot of sugary foods, starchy foods, the pancreas needs to release insulin, right? The insulin is literally the key that is needed to open up the cells in order for the sugar to be absorbed in the cells. When you're constantly eating, there's a constant spike in your blood sugars. It's always high. That causes inflammation. When it's constantly high, the body cannot absorb that sugar anymore. So the cells are now shut. So all that sugar is now in the bloodstream, right? So now you're having constant inflammation in the body, and your sugars are just high. The body has to try to get rid of that sugar some way. So the sugar is now stored as fat, and it's fat around the abdominal walls, fat around the organs. Another way the body tries to eliminate sugar is by filtering it through the kidneys. And then that can cause kidney failure, kidney damage in the long run. So I try to break it down like that. And then I explain to them, fasting is giving your body, giving your digestive tract time to rest, where the cells can now utilize those sugars effectively. So it's not just sitting in the bloodstream, and it's not trying to filter it through the kidneys and cause damage.
Yes, man. Thank you for that. That was a good breakdown. And I wanted to know the more like how it feels to be a client, if I would have said that. Thank you. And I actually looked at your bio. I wanted to talk about you being the author of Optimized Health. So what inspired you to write Optimized Health?
Yes, sir. So, I've been in the healthcare field for such a long time, and I've been surrounded by just chronic diseases, diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, obesity. And I just got tired. I've gotten so tired of just keep writing prescriptions and not necessarily seeing the result. The result I want to see is reversal. And that's not being seen with just standard medication treatment. So it's hard. There's a lot of information out there about diets and what to eat and what not to eat. A lot of people doesn't necessarily have the patience, the time to research all this information, or even the training to fully break down and understand all these diets, right? So my goal was to get a book where I can break down the principles of how to eat to live, along with different holistic approaches, put it in a book where the average person can read it and understand it.
Yes, man. And how does that book, like, what am I trying to say? How do you hope your book helps bridge faith, discipline, and medical knowledge to people?
I want people to know that health is not just, true health is not achieved by just foods. It's a holistic approach. The body is interconnected. So you have the brain, you have the organs, you have the microbiome that's in the digestive system. So you have all these different organs that are actually working together. So to achieve true health, we cannot just look at one system. We cannot just look at the brain. Oh, yes, you may not be having the right thoughts, but it's not just the brain. The body is made up of numerous components that have to work together. And it's the same way with, healing the entire body. You need the right nutrients, right? You need the right foods, but you also need the right thoughts. And you also need the creator. The creator created us, right? He's the one that knows how this all functions. And Allah has to be the center. Spirituality has to be the center, because when you're having life struggles, when you're having trials and difficulties, right, we cannot necessarily just rely on ourselves. We have to rely on a greater power for strength. How you're dealing with those, depression or the bad news that you're getting from a family members, or those bills, or those debt collectors that are calling you consistently. How are you managing that? We cannot, most times, we don't necessarily have the tools to even manage that. So we have to put our faith in something that is bigger, which is Allah, our creator, along with the foods and along with other holistic approaches to help manage and bring our body back into alignment.
I love how you express that you got to have faith in God, Allah. You have to have faith in God to even have a healthy life in a healthy body, physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Exactly.
And not just express food. And like how we said earlier, you have to have good thoughts, and you just can't eat good and not have good thoughts. Exactly. So my last question before we go to Sister Louita, because she has a couple more questions, is actually a big question to you personally. So what legacy do you hope to leave through your work in nursing, education, and authorship?
Yes, sir. That's something I'm still working on. But my goal is to formulate a comprehensive guideline, or comprehensive, I would say, guidelines or standard of care, where we can use it and have other healthcare professionals to utilize those approaches in the management and reversal of medications. So it's very hard to do this individually, because I'm one provider. So it's very hard to talk to my patients just individually. So I would love for us to completely develop a program where now it's changing healthcare. This now becomes the standard of care for health, for the treatment of diseases, for the reversal of diseases. So standard of care implemented globally.
That's a good idea. Yes, keep that passion. Yes, I need you to do that. So I hope you're going to do that. I know you.
All praises due to Allah.
Allah. And now we're going to have Sister Louita on the stage to ask her questions to you. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Louita.
Walaikum salam. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Angeline.
Walaikum salam,
Right?
ma'am.
Did I pronounce it properly?
What was that, ma'am?
Did I pronounce your name properly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Allah the Beneficent, the Merciful. I really love your spirit, and I enjoy your energy and your passion.
All praises to
It's
Allah.
very, very good. I have a couple of questions. I won't take too much of your time.
Yes.
But my first question to you is, do you find it interesting on how our people, the fact that we're embedded in the Western knowledge and medicine, do you find it interesting on how we as a people vet the most honorable Elijah Muhammad a little bit more than we try to vet the enemy and his knowledge, if you will?
Of course. That is pretty much the standard right now. That's something I'm trying to fight against. It's very common for our people to take advice from what they already know, the Western way, right? And then for me to come along and trying to change someone else's mind or trying to feed them a knowledge that can help them, it's very hard for them to transition because they have already had the perception of standard care is the best. I'm going to listen to my doctors and my doctors knows best, right? So they've been programmed that way. But the patients that I typically like to work with and the ones that comes to me, they are the ones that need something different. It's not that they want something different. They actually need something different because it's something, they have a chronic disease or diseases, and it's more life or death. So they are the ones that are willing to listen and they want to do something different. So the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, it's more people who have chronic diseases, they gravitate towards it more than just the standard folks that are still not healthy, but they don't have a life-threatening illness to deal with right now. So they are not the ones that gravitate towards this teachings. The teachings, the people who gravitate towards it are the ones that need an immediate change, like now.
Wow, that reminds me of Islam comes when all else.
Yes, ma'am. Like, that's my testimony.
That's right. Oh, man. So my other question is, do you find that the enemy is not concerned with solving the problem?
Of course.
He's concerned with treating the symptom because there's money to be made and putting a Band-Aid on it. Would you be able to elaborate on that and how you see that in your field?
Yes, ma'am. And so that's very common. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to leave the profession, because I figured out at a very early period of my career that it was all about the money. It was all about the money, and it wasn't necessarily about treating that root cause. What is the root cause? No one was willing to treat the root cause. They just want to give the medications. So, the patients become the consumers, right? And if Big Pharma is not necessarily having us as that consumer, that customer, they're not making money. And it's very standard. There are also different policies in place where doctors are getting like bonuses if they recommend certain medications. So it is the standard right now, and it's unfortunate because the patients doesn't necessarily know any better. They think they're following the right way, but really and truly it's not. And a lot of those patients are actually looking for something new, something different. So most of the times when they're dealing with chronic diseases and they hear about, how to eat to live and these different foods and fasting, those are the ones that will gravitate towards the teachings.
I normally had 2 questions, but real quick, this is so good.
Yes,
do you find the difficulty factor being with the more mature patients versus middle-aged and younger? Because I heard the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan say that Allah was not concerned with well-meaning old people, meaning that mind. So do you experience that sometimes in your field? That
I think so. So the age group that I typically work with are people who need a change. So we're looking at maybe around 40 to about maybe 65. The cutoff for me is around 65. People who are older, they're normally set in their ways, unless they are believers and part of the Nation of Islam. Then they may want to make a change. But yes, the older population, they're already stuck in their ways. They are used to eating their pork, and they've been mentioning, oh, my mother, lived to be 100 and she ate pork. So they're already stuck in their ways, and it's very hard to try to change their mindset or even give them the information so they can change their own mindset. But after a certain age, those people, it's hard to care for them.
That's very interesting, because to quote the minister correctly, he said 40 and older. He said, because that mind has been shaped by Pharaoh. So you just bore witness to it. I won't hold you any longer. I'll turn it back over to Sister Janine. There are some questions in the chat. And I thank you so much for your beautiful speech. May Allah bless you. You made me feel better.
Great. All praises due to Allah.
Yes.
Thank you, Sister Louita. I'm going to get to a couple of questions in the chat because I want to make sure our family is covered with their questions.
Yes.
So in the chat, Tony Too Smooth asked, he said, Assalamu alaikum, what is your advice to young women who are unfamiliar with the nation?
Well, there could be so many advices, but the Nation of Islam, for young women who are not familiar with the nation, I would recommend them to start listening to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because that has worked for me. So whenever you're under stress, right, he has topics and lectures to cover literally everything in life. It's like your personal guide. He's your personal guide just to deal with the challenges of life. So I would say familiarize yourself with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan and his teachings. Also, too, start praying more, because we are divine beings and we are created by Allah, the superior being. So start praying and actually start doing righteousness, like doing things that are right. Our spirit knows right from wrong. So just strive to live a life of righteousness, prayers, and start feeding on the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's teachings.
Yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah. And so I have another health question for you. So when you and Sister Louita mentioned sisters over the age of 40, right? So we're in this, I don't want to say a new age, but we're in a period now where a lot of women, I'll raise my hand first, as going through this whole perimenopause thing. And you didn't really hear I've never heard about it. My mother would say I'm not familiar with it. So it seems like a new term. I'm not sure if the symptoms are new, but the term is new. So what do you, in your research, what have you seen about that? And is there more holistic approach to dealing with that? Or is this something kind of new? What are your thoughts on that?
So when it comes on to perimenopause and menopause in general, my beliefs is it's a hormonal imbalance, right? There are many women over 50 that has never experienced those symptoms, right? And including my mother. My mom is close to 60 and she's never had any experiences in perimenopause or menopause. So, and just based on my research and just like knowledge that I've acquired over the years, it really stems from hormonal dysfunctions. And also, too, the foods that you're eating and the thoughts that you're having, right? The foods, if you're not eating the proper foods, it's going to cause imbalances. If you're not having the right thoughts, it's going to cause imbalances. So we have to be able to feed our body, feed our mind on the proper foods, whether it's spiritual, mental, or actual physical foods.
Yes, ma'am. And going in a little further to that, so there have been studies that after a long period of time, they have found that um, relaxers that Black women have been using for so long had a lot of effects that women are experiencing now. In addition, there are articles about women using the hair braiding and the chemicals in the hair braiding. So it's all these things that seem to be geared to Black women. Some of the results that is in these articles would say fibroids, which we have Black women who experience fibroids in a range of sizes and issues and things like that. So what is your advice that you would give to Black women as far as reversing fibroids? Because there are doctors who may say, oh, we can just surgically remove it, or you can do this, that. So what advice would you have to reverse those effects, if any?
Yes, there are plenty, ma'am. So for one, when it comes on to fibroids, it's actually, there are numerous causes, right? As you mentioned, the chemicals from the synthetic hair, and there's poison all around us, right?
Right.
And those things seep inside our bodies and cause dysfunctions. Also, too, meat, especially red meats and the different foods that we're eating, it all has chemicals in it. So if that person that has fibroids, I would suggest to go on a vegetarian diet. That's the best route. Okay. Also, too, their comprehensive, how are you managing your stressors in life, right? Because that cortisol level can affect your hormonal level, which can also contribute to developing different abnormalities in the body. So how are you dealing with stressors of life, right? Are you just calling your friend next door and gossiping for like the next, several hours? That's not really helping. So what are you doing to bring your body back into balance after like days or even months of having an elevation of cortisol level? So how are you dealing with stressors, right? Are you even exercising? Right? What are you doing to detox the body? There's always chemicals or some type of poison in the body, and then it accumulates in specific areas. What are you doing? Fasting is a beautiful approach. Fasting, the body actually goes into a stage of autophagy where it starts to self-eat. It's eating itself. Also, another issue that we're having, especially in the Black community, Black women in general, whenever they're told they have fibroids, the first thing that the doctor is suggesting is to actually do surgery. And they don't just go in and remove the fibroids, right? They're going in and actually doing like a hysterectomy.
Oh, wow.
Yes. I've had people who have actually told me they just went in for a fibroid and they came out hysterectomy.
Wow. Wow. That's something. Well, I guess, we got to be more careful when we go to these doctors.
We have to be, because there's poison everywhere. It's in the air we breathe, right? It's pollutions, the water we drink, the foods that we eat. Like there's poison everywhere. So we have to be advocate of our own selves and do what's best for us. And that includes fasting. We're tapping into our body's natural ability to heal itself. What is better than that? You don't have to pay a doctor for that, right? Your body naturally does that. And strive to eat the best of foods, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has suggested. Prayer, tapping into that divine power. What else? What else can you do? Those are actually great tools, great things that you can implement into your lives.
That's right. Absolutely. And when you're thinking about that, what advice would you give to Black women when it comes to, or women period, when it comes to how to choose? Because a lot of women use their gynecologist as maybe their primary care physician. So what advice would you have when you're searching for doctors? Any particular questions you should ask?
So whenever you're searching for doctors, try to find someone who has the same belief system as you. That's always the best case. Or actually read their bio or go online and Google them and see if their approach is actually similar to what you're looking for. Are you looking for a holistic approach? If you are, try searching for a holistic provider. So you have to become your best advocate and do your research and find someone who has similar approaches that you're looking for. Also, too, when you're trying to find a doctor, and when you're trying to find a doctor, if you're going in for anything that may need a procedure, go with another family member. Try to take someone else with you, right? Also, too, get second and third opinions for everything. So if you go in for a fibroid, right, and your doctor suggests only surgery, then go somewhere else and see what they suggest. Never just go with the first person. It's just like real estate. If you have a home and something is broken, right? If you have some plumbing issues, are you going to get the first plumber, or you're going to vet plumbers and see who has the best price, who has the experience? It's the same thing with life.
That's right. Yes, ma'am. Beautiful, beautiful advice. And before I turn it over to Brother West to do our station ID, so another question that we have is, what is the first lifestyle change you can challenge your readers to make when they read your book?
I would say the first one that I always recommend is fasting. Try fasting, because everyone who have suggested fasting to and who have actually done it, within the first week, they've actually told me they've had improvement. That's one of the greatest things that you can do for yourself, tapping into your body's natural ability to heal itself. So for someone who's not necessarily familiar with fasting, I normally say, okay, if you're used to eating several meals per day and snacks in between, go straight to a 12-hour fast. What does that look like? Stop eating at 7 p.m. and start eating 7 a.m. or later. That's 12 hours right there, right? And as you get stronger, go to maybe 16-hour fast, and then 20, and then ultimately strive to get to 1 meal a day, because you're going to get the best outcome.
Yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah. And how do you help readers unlearn harmful eating habits that have been normalized for generations? Because it seems though, I'm not a health professional, but it seems like a lot of diseases that people say is hereditary, it seems like it's more the habit. So how do we unlearn that?
That's a challenge, man. That's such a challenge. That's something I have been striving to do. And it's just multiple approaches, multiple, I guess, connection and touch points, and just trying to say the same things over and over in different approaches. So for instance, on Facebook, right, I may say it in a video, I may say it on an image, I may say it in an entire article. So it's just using that's one of the hardest things, using multiple approaches to try to connect, or trying to plant a seed or embed a seed somewhere so they can eventually try to start making a change. And also using demonstration, because this is the way of life for me. This is something I practice and I'm very passionate about. I've seen the results for myself and for my clients, and anyone that has really taken focus on implementing this. I've seen, it works. It really works. But it's very hard for some people because, if they have diabetes, they want to say, oh, my family has it. Hypertension, my family has had it. But it's all the way of life. It's the way you've been eating all these years. Every generation in your family, they've all eaten the same. So yes, you're going to end up with the same disease or diseases. But that's one of the hardest things to do, is to actually change their mind or change their concept. It's a constant work.
Yes, ma'am. And that actually leads to another question that was sent over before we go to the station ID for real this time. The question that was sent over was, why is keeping weight off after losing it so difficult?
Keeping weight off. In my experience and just working with different clients, it's hard because they've never really worked on changing their lifestyle, right? It's more a diet. Most people look at losing weight as just a diet. I'm going to do this diet for maybe 6 months, right? And then they lose the weight and then they return to their same eating habits. So it was never a lifestyle change to begin with. It's the same thing I'm seeing with the obesity medications, the Ozempic and the Wegovy. They use the weight loss medication, right? They were eating the same way. So they're using a weight loss medication, eating the same way, but that weight loss medication curbed their appetite. So they lost the weight. So now after they lost the weight, they've stopped using the medication, but then they return to the same eating habits. So of course you're going to gain the weight back because you never changed the lifestyle. It was only a temporary process.
Good point. Praise be to the Lord. Thank you for answering that. Yes. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Brother West, who is going to give us our station ID. And then I believe Brother West has a couple more questions for you. So, Brother West, I will go ahead and turn it over to you if you're ready. Oh, he has a bit of a delay. So let me ask the other question that was sent over while we're waiting for Brother West. So when it comes to water, what is your opinion on water? Is there a particular, because I know you see so many things, it's so many things on the news about water, food, everything, the bottled water. What is your opinion on bottled water and what's best in that particular situation?
So let's not complicate this because it can get complicated. Just strive to drink more water and drink spring water. Okay, just drink spring water and drink more of it. And then include daily fasting and you'll be okay. Because I can actually discuss write an entire book on that topic.
Yes, ma'am.
The spring water, daily fasting. And that's with everything though, because there's poison and there's all this information on every single topic out there. And not just one set of information. There's so many books and articles and news about these different things. It's very confusing to the regular people. So stick to fasting, stick to fruits and vegetables, stick to the guidelines of how to eat to live, spring water, and we should be okay.
Yes, ma'am. Praise be to Allah. Thank you for breaking that down. A lot of times we try to, make things hard. So sometimes it's a simple thing.
Yes.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, and at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Brother Jamal. He's going to give us our station ID, and then I have a couple other questions for you. So, Brother Jamal, I'll turn it over to you for the station ID.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, family. You're tuning in to WHID-FM. If you have any questions and comments, please be sure to send an email to WHID-FM at WHID1919@gmail.com. Again, that's WHID1919@gmail.com. And next week, inshallah, we will be bringing on Brother Student Minister Daniel Muhammad on December 21st next week, and our way special guest. You do not want to miss that one. And we will be tuning in next week for him to bring a special message to us as we ask him more questions. With that, we'll turn it back on to Sister Janine.
And I almost forgot this question, so I'm glad it popped back in, Sister Angeline.
Yes, ma'am.
So tell us about, because a lot of women or a lot of doctors try to push birth control on our sisters. Can you tell us about the dangers of birth control?
They're numerous. There's so many. Well, it causes imbalances in your body, honestly, because it causes a lot of imbalances, right? Also, too, the side effects can be deadly. Blood clots, right? And blood clots can be formed anywhere. The legs, the lungs, the heart, the brain, like blood clots all over the place, right? But the main thing is it causes like imbalances, hormonal imbalances, and that can affect a woman in various ways. Lots of spot-ins, certain birth controls, especially Depo-Provera. What it's actually doing, it's shrinking the uterus, right? It shrinks the uterus to such a small size. When a woman is ready to, procreate and have a child, it can take years. So birth control is not necessarily the best option. Honestly, abstinence is.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that, because it's become something that has been like a norm for
really is.
Women, and even I've had it advised to me, and it's like you advise them that, oh no, I don't want that. It's like they keep trying to, well, have you ever thought about it, or why not? It's like they try to push it on you. So it's like this culture that that women go through, just challenging the very system. It can be a challenge, for us, for everybody as well.
It really can.
But with that, our brother Wes has 2 more questions for you. So, brother Wes, I'll go ahead and I know it's at the top of the hour, 8:05, but he has a couple more questions for you. So, brother Wes, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
All right, yes, ma'am. My next question for you was concerning your introduction to Islam. I know earlier you mentioned how your husband actually introduced you to the teachings, and that it was a little bit of, I would say, friction there.
There's a lot.
I see. So since then, how would you say growing in the nation, but also growing in your relationship, how has that been for you? What would you say that's been like?
So Islam has brought me peace, contentment of mind, purpose. Like, I know initially when I was introduced to the Nation of Islam, it wasn't something that I just accepted as is. No, it took years of just listening to Minister Farrakhan and just the other believers that are working. Like, I need to give a shout out to all the believers. Everyone on social media that's posting and reposting. A lot of times you're doing the work and you're not necessarily seeing any maybe progress or seeing any results, but I want to take my time out to just say thank you to all the believers, because I remember there was one time I was scrolling through social media. This is before I became a registered member, and someone posted something about the refuge prayer, right? I started looking up the refuge prayer and I got the words for it. And since that day, I've been saying the refuge prayer 7 times per day, every day. So I just want to give a shout out to everyone out there that is working, and you may not see the results, but I just want to let you know that you've actually been planting seeds, but it's just hasn't been that time for those seeds to germinate. So continue doing what you're doing. But going back to what I was saying, Islam has changed my life. The Nation of Islam specifically has really changed my life. The person I am today, I would not be here. I would not be doing what I'm doing. I would not be, an entrepreneur, a business owner. I would not be out here teaching people a new way if it wasn't for the Nation of Islam. So I've grown mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. And it's all because of the Nation of Islam. I'm able to handle stressors better because I've been getting the tools to use, using the Holy Quran, using the prayers, and going to those study groups. It's all about self-development and self-improvement. So I've been really utilizing the tools and the teachings that have been acquiring from the Nation of Islam, and I've been seeing a huge transformation in my life.
All praises due to Allah. And as we begin to wind down here, my next question for you, to, I would say, summarize it all, to bring it all into a nutshell, what has Islam done for you?
Sure. I mentioned a lot of it just now, but Islam has really changed my life. I am who I am today because of the Nation of Islam, knowing that Master Fard Muhammad traveled 9,000 miles to save us, to save me, shows me that someone loves me. Someone loves me. I think I was looking for love in all the wrong places all my life. And I've recently found it. And I've found it in the Supreme Being who controls the elements, the rain, the snow, the earthquakes. And I am just so appreciative to Master Fard Muhammad for coming and saving us, not just saving me, but coming to save us. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, his courageousness that he shows and his strength and just this showcase of love, doing this work when a lot of people didn't believe him and still doesn't believe him. Also, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, that strength, his boldness, his courageousness, just seeing the work of those three great men shows me that I am capable, I am strong, I am bold, and I can actually take on this task. And I can go out there and help our people. It inspires me to do more. And as I mentioned, it has transformed my life. I've been able to deal with stressors better. I'm able to handle my emotions better. Things that I didn't thought I could do, I am doing. Public speaking, I have shied away from public speaking all my life. Ever since I was in the 5th grade, I was supposed to do a presentation at that time, and I just didn't. I just didn't go to school. So it's been something that I've shied away from doing for all my life, but now I'm doing it. I have gotten the strength to do things I've never thought I could do. So Islam, it's just a beautiful, it's not even, according to, I think, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, it's not a religion, it's a way of life. It has really transformed my life, honestly, for the better.
That's absolutely beautiful. I'm very happy to hear that Islam is, like you said, transform your life, is introduce you to things that you probably didn't think you would be able to do. So that's wonderful. And as we begin to wind down, before we go into announcements, we want to ask you for some of your closing comments. So if you want to tell the audience how you can be reached for some of your services, this would be a great time to do it.
Sure. So my main page is Angeline X on Facebook. I also have a Facebook nutrition wellness group, and it's free. Lots of information is being shared. And then my business website is chef, CHEF, wellnessclinic.com. And I'm all about holistic approaches. Also, my book is called Optimize Health, and it's on Amazon. So you can purchase that.
All praise is due to Allah. Before we end off tonight, we'll make sure to put that in the chat as well, so everybody can go support you for sure. And with that, Sister Janine, we're going to turn it over to you for some announcements.
Thank you, Sister Angeline, and thank you, family, for tuning in tonight. And I hope you enjoyed the show, which I know you have. You're definitely welcome to study with the Nation of Islam to learn the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad as taught by his chief helper, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. You can go to www.noi.org/go study. You can also go to the website to see weekly webcasts we have on Sundays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. History of the Nation of Islam. You are also welcome to donate to the Nation of Islam as well. Final Call Radio, download it on all of your devices. Take it with you on the go. Whether you're going to work, you're going to school, or just running errands, there's nothing better to have in your ear and in your children's ear than Final Call Radio and having the truth playing in your ear 24/7 as you go about your day. And speaking of the Final Call newspaper, you see the cover on the screen. We're honoring the mother, the faithful mother, Khadija Farrakhan, who is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful woman. I mean, just it's no words to really describe the beauty of Mother Khadija. So definitely get that Final Call newspaper. Support Black media. If you want to go anywhere to get your truth, definitely go to Black media, especially the Final Call. There's a reason why we call the Final Call the #1 minister in our nation, is because the Final Call can go across the world giving the truth and knowledge to our people. Also, in addition to our announcements, the book I Never Knew I'm All That, written by our host, Brother Donald Muhammad. Definitely get that book. This book affirms our children's needs. And there's so many books out there that is poisoning our children. Definitely read a book that helps affirm their needs and gives them self-confidence. And you can get that book on Amazon.com. Again, that book is written by our host, Brother Donald Muhammad. Illustrations by Sister Amina Lay. And last but not least, if you're in the Richmond area and to hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you can come every Sunday. It's delivered by the local representative of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan there in Richmond, Virginia, Student Minister Tracy Muhammad. And here in Baltimore, if you're in town, you can visit us at 2801 North Dukeland Street. That is Connections High School, where you can hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad by his local representative, Student Imam Abdul Salam Muhammad. So with that, family, I'm going to turn it over for our Eat to Live segment, Eat Well, Be Well segment, who was written, going to do about Sister Louida Muhammad. So Sister Louida, I will go ahead and turn it over to you.
Yes, ma'am. Assalamu alaikum. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah and that Muhammad is his messenger. Thank you so much for tuning in to another wonderful episode of WHID-FM. We are thrilled to bring you our new segment titled Eat Well, Be Well. We truly pray that our efforts blesses and enriches all of our lives tremendously. Today, I will be reading from the Final Call briefly, just a few sentences. This is the December 15th edition, as Sister Janine just talked about, with Mother Khadija blessing us on the front cover. I would like to read that to you. Bad foods causes us to look old. The #1 thing you should not eat is the hog, swine. The hog takes away the beautiful appearance of people and takes away their shyness. The people who eat the hog have no shyness because they eat the hog. Nature did not give the hog any shyness. God, in person of Master Fard Muhammad, taught me that the scientists found that the hog carries 999 poisonous germs. It made me think about the word shyness. And when I cleared that word, one of the synonyms is reservedness. So it sounds like there's just a lack of discipline, no being reserved, doing what you want to do and however you want to do it. So I went to the book, How to Eat to Live, book 1, page 102. Just one paragraph here. The main purpose of the teaching, How to Eat to Live, is to prolong our lives. Our beauty appearance is destroyed in us, not just our facial appearance, but the most beautiful appearance about us, our characteristics, the way we act and the way we practice our way of life. We achieve one of the greatest beauties when we achieve the spiritual beauty and characteristics through practicing them. We achieve the spiritual beauty through practicing or carrying into practice the spiritual laws. So Surah 2 of the Holy Quran, titled The Cow, Ayat 172, which is verse, "O you who believe, eat of the good things that we have provided you with, and give thanks to Allah if He it is whom you serve. So when you think about the spiritual practice and the physical practice of eating properly, it made me think about something briefly, and I won't take long. Bad foods causes our appearance to look ugly. The way we eat, the way we think, the way Sister explained our thinking and our thoughts and how it can affect us. So if we're eating like the pig, or eating the pig, we're living like the pig. Our behavior is savage. Our thinking is low. The details are not necessarily important, but I had a new client that set up to rob me about less than a week ago. And when you look at that, that's on a horizontal level. So is he eating bad food? Of course he is. Is he thinking bad thoughts? Absolutely. So the appearance is looking ugly by the way that he had behaved. I thank Allah for the opportunity to share these thoughts with you. Eat well, be well. May Allah continue to bless us all. Assalamu alaikum. Sister Janine, back to you, my dear.
And at this time, we will turn it over to Brother West, who will close us out in prayer.
Praise be to Allah. With that, we're going to close out in prayer, family attention prayer. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Rahmanirrahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladina an'amta alayhim. Ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum, family.
This house is dedicated to knowledge and to the spreading of knowledge. Elijah Muhammad inspired new thought, new mind, new way of civilization among black people. But he wanted a house from which a light could be lifted up to give guidance to all who would be guided as this world begins to close down. This National Center for the Re-Education and Retraining of the black man and woman, but for the totality of the human family of our planet. I named this mosque after the only woman that the Quran names a chapter after, the mother of Jesus, Maryam. All human beings need to be re-educated. That is the purpose of the National Center.